Hi, this is Chris. We're here at New York Comic Con to talk Powers. Now, you guys just got out of your panel. How did that go? Crazy?
Heart
First debut.
beating, tears happen. It's a real thing.
Let's just say it's nice that we can't see past the first row because we're lit so brightly. Because if you could see past and actually notice the 2,000 people staring at you, that would be terrifying. But it was really a wonderful welcome.
Awesome to see your vision come to life and share it with fans. So take us on the journey. How did this start? How did you first get it made?
This is a very, very long road from here because we had our first option for Powers in 2000.
Yeah, way back.
This is a 14-year thing. We've been through several different directors, some big directors and great writers, and it's been very difficult to take Powers and to realize it, I think, because it's two different genres, and it's two different genres that are deconstructed, and then trying to put that all together. Even great writers can get tripped up by that. And luckily, once I think the key was getting Charlie involved, Charlie Houston, the writer, because he has experience in writing films, novels, and comics. So he kind of understood how to take all those weird pieces and put them together. And we had amazing producers and showrunners now, and it just happened when it needed to happen.
It's kind of amazing because it's a gritty tale, and it's on the PlayStation Network. It's debuting on PlayStation, so that's kind of cool in and of itself. How did you guys feel when you were like, this is the place it landed?
How'd you feel?
I was really happy as an actress just because PlayStation and Sony are giving us this opportunity to have very few boundaries, I guess.
Yeah.
And we can really just tell the story in the way that it should be told. And, comics are they're graphic, obviously, but it's hard to do that on a different network. And there's more regulations. And whereas we can cuss.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing. I was like, I've never actually cussed on film or TV before. And I was like, I can cuss and I can be sensual and this young woman without it being questioned by a higher authority. And we can play up different darker themes that normally there would be some red flags. And now we can just be honest.
It's just nice that you get to preserve the integrity of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And also what's great is that our entire production is just Sony and Sony PlayStation,
Right.
as opposed to Sony and a different house or something. So the communications within its own house makes things much smoother. And then when there's needs for the production, there aren't these bumps that you typically get. And so that's been very exciting. And knowing that PlayStation was going to be putting it out and we were going to be the first of these video games companies to do anything like this, it was very exciting. And I just think it's where television is going.
Absolutely.
There's multiple different venues to see your favorite things now, and we're proud.
So for folks who don't know, give us a little background on your character and what you're doing in Powers.
So I play Zora, and in the comic book series, Zora has her powers more full-fledged. She and in the series, she is still very powerful, but she's in the adolescent stages of that power. So she's strong, she's well-trained, but she's not experienced. So she's finding her way in the world with the Powers kids and just figuring out who she is as a power.
And for you?
I play Calista, and Calista is a Powers wannabe, quote-unquote, or she's a normal human being.
Right.
Or maybe she's not. You'll have to watch and see. Who knows? But she's a young woman that's going through a transitional phase in her life where she's discovering what it is to be a strong young female and to want and desire something that doesn't innately come to her as easily as it does to others. And what does that mean? And then you throw in a bunch of issues with society and the way that you're raised. And so she's kind of, I like to think of her as like the audience of the show because she kind of bounces through all the different groups. She doesn't really belong anywhere. And I hope that the audience will connect with her and kind of have a different point of view.
So you've been trying to make this for 14 years, as you said. Has it gone through any sort of iterations in tone and things like that? And are you happy with where you got it to be?
Yeah, it's been through a ton of different iterations, but what was really, really interesting was when we got the very first draft from Charlie Houston, it was pretty much perfect. And it was Powers. Like, for the first time in reading the many, many different scripts that I've read for Powers, it was the first time where I didn't feel like I was reading a movie that was trying to find its way to Powers. Like, I was reading Powers. It was because of the way he wrote these characters. and it was truly astounding because I just never seen that before. You know, you're used to getting a script and going, this needs a lot of work, but this is right and this is wrong, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He had all the right tones, he had all the right beats, and that's where we started, and that's amazing.
In a lot of ways, I feel like comic book shows have gotten, if nothing, less mature, and now this is like taking a more mature angle. Are you guys excited about being sort of pioneers in that way?
I mean, the show in and of itself is pioneering this new network. I mean,
Distribution.
yeah, it's history being made. So I think we've all spoken on the fact that, I mean, Calista's character is a perfect example of being aged up right off the bat, and all the liberties we're allowed to take with the network.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing else like it on television. I mean, there's a lot of options for shows right now, but there's nothing that has this tone. And it's not like we're being adult or graphic for the sake of it.
Right.
That it's just we're looking at it kind of a dark side of the world, seen through the Powers world. And there's just nothing else like it on television. And there's nothing coming up that's
Right.
even close to it. And then if you were in the audience today and you saw that extra clip, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. You're not going to see that on anything else.
Awesome.
So it's very Powers, you know.
I love going to the movies and seeing like a Marvel film or anything that has to do with comic because it makes you dream and makes you believe in magic, and that's
Right.
wonderful. But there is this gap that's missing where you only get like, that superhero is great, they make no mistakes.
Right.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
After a while, you like, disappearing into a fantasy, and you like disappearing into this, like, oh, everything's perfect world, but you want to connect more, and the way you can connect is by giving a little bit of reality to these superheroes or powers, and that's what our show has. I feel like not only will our audience be entertained, but I feel like they can take something back and feel very connected to it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a relatability issue. I think that's the key to these characters. Where I was watching a scene with Calista, and I was talking to you about how it was really touching, and partially because I'm invested in the character, but
Right.
she just made it so real. She made that want for Powers to be this really lost, sad girl, and I was like, this isn't a superhero show. That's amazing. You know, that's what makes
Yeah.
real characters.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited to see it. Thank you so much for talking about it. For more things Powers and New York Comic Con, stay on IGN.com.